Chapter 3. Instant Attraction. Teresa left Timothy's school that morning feeling on top of the world. She found Timothy's teacher very attractive. He wasn't like other teachers, apart from the fact he was a man and most of the teachers in the primary school were women. He seemed to enjoy spending time with the young children and took a genuine interest in them. She always liked people who were nice to her son. In addition to this, Rod really wasn't there good looking. She smiled at her as she walked home. I have become a typical housewife, he thought, fantasizing about other men while my husband is out to work. She didn't mind this image of herself. She enjoyed looking to Rod, and thinking about him made the day brighter until her husband came out. She loved Powell deeply, so did romance with Harmons. Anyway, Rod was married, and it was unlikely he gave Teresa a second thought. It was just nice to fantasize. While she walked, she made a mental list of the things she had to do that day. She would shop at the supermarket for mixed food, and go into town to get some new clothes for Timothy. Then she remembered that she had to ring Fenella, see if she would go into Timothy's class to get the chalk. Teresa phoned Fenella at lunchtime, who agreed to call in Teresa on her way home from work. Timothy was playing out in the garden with a friend, and Fenella arrived at around 6 that evening. I was wondering, said Teresa, pouring tea from the green pots into platinum mugs, whether you'd like to come to Kim's school and give a talk on publishing children's books. Fenella took the mug of tea gratefully. She was thinking about Teresa's suggestion, wondering why Teresa had thought of asking her. Teresa was always thoughtful and kind to Fenella, but sometimes she had hidden motives with the plans she made. She wondered now whether this was just another way to make her feel part of Timothy's world. Fenella would love to share her knowledge with a class of children, and only as a professional publisher. She didn't want to do it, just because Teresa felt sorry for her. Is this one of your ideas? She asked suspiciously, looking at her friend with the steam from Archie. That's all, said Teresa. It was Rod's idea, Timothy's teacher. He asked me this morning whether I knew of anyone, and they meeting to do you. I told him you might be too busy. It would be doing him a favor, of course. Oh, but it might do school a favor, said Vanilla, as long as you're sure they want me. You're not just trying to cheer me up. Oh, come on, said Teresa. I know the last few months have been hard for you. They think you're coping marvelously. So, when do you think you might be able to go to the school? I can take a day up next week. Ask him if he'd like me to come in. I'll have the school number. Then you can talk to him yourself, said Teresa. Okay. Hey, is this the teacher you like? One with the lovely eyes and black hair, looks like Tom Cruise. Little house. Teresa laughed. Yes, she said, it is. I think your friend is rather attractive. It's a shame he's married. Oh, is he? Fenella wasn't surprised. And anyway, she was not looking for a man in her life. That just caused him more problems, she decided. She was already managing very well on her own. Hello, said Teresa suddenly. What's happening with that independent document agency we contacted? Well, began Fenella cautiously. Since the first interviews and workshops, I've had a team interview, but they told me that being single shouldn't stop me from adopting. They want me to go home this though. Is the most thorough part of the procedure, so nothing is definite yet. That's great news, said Teresa. and if I can do anything to help, I will, like telling them how wonderful you are, Timothy. Thanks, Teresa. There's a long way to go yet, of course. Endless interviews, workshops, and then there's the question of finding the right child. Let's see if it's decided you can have one. And I will need 2 opportunities, so perhaps you can provide one of them. I'd love to, said Teresa. Fernanda circled back to her own house, feeling for some reason more optimistic than she had done for a while. After summer, she had gradually forced herself to stop thinking about Stephen. She had redecorated her whole house, so they would no longer remind her of him. She had chosen the colors carefully, and just doing this had made her feel more in control of her life. Stephen heard wrong to say here in his new car and they were planning to marry it. Fenella had realized by becoming even more determined to do the things she most wanted to do. The child. Stephen was not going to stop her. She contacted the independent adoption agency the day after she heard Stephen was getting married. She was told to go to an internet to learn more about the advantages and disadvantages of adopting a child as a single person. She'd learned being single was not a problem anymore. The important thing at the could be considered the beginning of a child. This was the social work out with it. Even though she had to have the home to attend further workshop, she felt far more confident that she might be allowed to adopt a child. Since then, it was even out of her mind and concentrated on work and finding out as much as she could about adoption. Now, in September, things did not look as packed as they had done my evening in June, and she had spent the evening in tears and Teresa's. The next day, the neighbor enrolled at his school and arranged to get me the following week. Although she had to take a day off, she didn't mind giving the school her time. It would be a change for her to be with children, and interesting to see what happened inside primary school these days.